So something pretty wild happened. OpenAI just dropped ChatGPT 5.1 out of nowhere. No fancy live stream, no big YouTube announcement, just a quiet little post on X. And today we're going to dive deep into what this means for all of us. Starting off with, they just upgraded their GPT-5 series of models, which is their latest flagship model series, and they incremented it by 0.1, meaning this is the newest, latest version of it. And they have two different versions, ChatGPT 5.1 Instant and GPT 5.1 Thinking. GPT 5.1 Instant is their most used model, with now warmer and more intelligent and better following of instructions. But ChatGPT 5.1 Thinking is their advanced reasoning model, now easier to understand and faster on simple tasks, more persistent on more complex ones. Meaning basically the GPT 5.1 is still a hybrid model where it can give you a very quick response on answers that are easy, but for longer responses, it can think longer. You don't have to switch from model to model to get these type of deep thinking or a quicker response. It's all in-house, but that was already installed into it. The big takeaways here is that it's actually better when it comes to communication and very warm and more inviting than, well, another ChatGPT, not as robotic. You can see here with this example where they say, I'm feeling stressed and could use some relaxation tips. You see with ChatGPT 5, it goes straight into an answer and not really as personal. It says, here are a few simple, effective ways to help ease stress. You can mix and match depending on how you're feeling and how much time you have. They do like the quick reset with deep breathing, progressive relaxing, grounding, and then 10-minute recharge like guided meditation and recalibration, which is not bad. This is very detail oriented and gives the user a lot more information. But we see the difference with ChatGPT 5.1 Instant. It's a little bit more personalized, where you see that ChatGPT 4.1 Instant says, I got you, Ron. That's totally normal, especially with everything you got going on lately. Here are a few ways to decompress depending on what kind of stress you're feeling. Then it also follows up with, if your mind feels scattered, box breathing. Then it gives you some more advice that says name what you see, where you name a few different items. Then also allows you to play music, step aside for a few minutes, and then it goes into stretches and warm meditation in a bath or something like that. And you could tell it's a little bit more personalized. It even responded by giving the user's name in the response. And I wouldn't be surprised if these are things that they picked up along the way as far as recommendations about the user, maybe music choices or something that may be more helpful to the user. Instead of doing a normal meditation, if that person doesn't necessarily feel like a person that does meditation a lot, and they would probably be better at listening to music, going to shoot some hoops, or playing a video game, I think ChatGPT could pick up on that type of thing, at least 5.1 can, and then give a more catered, more natural, emotionally engaging response. Which is also scary, which is something I'm going to bring up later about how this more natural, more personalized tone can actually be a risk. But before we get to that, I want to also show you that ChatGPT 5.1 is better with instruction following. So the model more reliably answers the question you asked and not give you some type of hallucination or give you more than what you need. So we see that the user here asks, always respond with 6 words. And what happens is, understood, always respond will be 6. Then the user asks, where should I travel this summer? Then you see that ChatGPT kind of gives a longer response than 6 words, where it says Japan and it gives more information. And then you see the user asks why there, then it responds there with 6 words, but it wasn't consistent. But we see with ChatGPT 5.1 with the same prompt, it says understand, I will respond in 6. And then they ask the same question, where should I travel this summer? It says consider Japan, Italy, Greece, Canada, or Iceland. It says why there, scenery, culture, cuisine, climate, friendly, locals. It followed the 6 structure in the response instead of it going back and forth with it, which is cool. But it doesn't just stop there. It says for the first time, ChatGPT Instant can adapt reasoning to decide when to think before responding, or more challenging questions, resulting in more thorough and accurate answers while still responding quickly. And they said this is reflected in the improvements in math and coding evaluations 2025 in code forces. As you see in the graph below, we see a head-to-head between ChatGPT 5 and ChatGPT 5.1, and we see how fast ChatGPT 5.1 is when it calculating or doing more tasks and how fast it responds, but also how much time it takes to answer a more complex task. So it dedicates more time to more complex tasks and less time to more simple tasks, which is a huge benefit if you want more accurate answers as well as more complex answers answered better, if that makes sense at all. Not only that, ChatGPT 5.1 does have better natural speaking and is more humanoid kind of responses. ChatGPT 5.1 thinking responses are more cleaner, with less jargon and fewer undefined terms. This makes the model more capable, more approachable, and easily understandable, especially for more complex tasks at work or explaining technical concepts. As you see here, they asked ChatGPT 5 and 5.1 to explain BIP and WRC+. And so you see with ChatGPT 5, here's a clean, no nonsense explainer you want. Then it goes into what the BIP is, which is the batting average on balls in play. Then gives you a little bit more background as far as the equations and why it matters. And overall, it's actually a pretty good response. But we see with 5.1, it's a little bit more personal, more natural, where it says ChatGPT 5.1 thinking. It says nice nerd stat time, and it says I'll do each one in plain English and then add a bit of context. So it lays out a format of the information so you can follow along with what you're going to be reading instead of just diving into the text. And at the beginning, it dives into a joke to ease your mind. But you look at the information here where it says BAB, IP, batting average on balls in play. What it means, it gives you the definition, it gives you the formula, but not only that, it explains each part of the formula where it says it only cares about balls that fielders can make a play on, ignore strikeouts, home runs, and walks. And then in the formula, it'll give you the formula as well as why they're ignoring each one. I think it's a little bit better when it comes to understanding a complex concept and breaking it down, which if you're trying to use AI to learn, it definitely needs this type of information to be able to be relayed in a simplistic manner for the user. It doesn't just stop there. ChatGPT 5 thinking has a warmer and more empathetic tone. So you see here they went head to head with ChatGPT 5 and 5.1 with a person who prompted, I just spilled coffee all over myself before my meeting. Do you think everyone thought I was an idiot? And you see with ChatGPT 5, they said, oh, that's such a gut punch feeling. I'm really sorry that happened. Short answer, no, most people probably didn't think that. We massively overestimate how much others notice our mishaps. And it kind of goes into a more heartfelt message, and it gives some help and advice to say maybe you can even clean it off with a Tide OxyClean, some detergent or soap, so next time it happens it won't be a big deal and you can clean it up yourself. ChatGPT 5.1 thinking is, hey, no, they didn't. You're rattled, so your brain is doing that thing where it catastrophizes a tiny mishap into a character flaw. But honestly, people barely register this stuff. Everyone's sprinting between calls, half distracted, juggling their own chaos. A coffee spill reads as busy human, not idiot. And that response right there, just at the top, is very personable compared to ChatGPT 5. 5.1 is really doing a good job of connecting with the actual person. Then it goes to let me coach you through this quickly, and then it gives you some help as well as tips in order to handle this, which is absolutely insane. But there is a potential dark side of this. A lot of users already use ChatGPT as a therapy, a coach, or even a mediator between arguments. ChatGPT being more personable, more warming and inviting, and not as robotic, can blur the line even more with how people come and perceive ChatGPT 5.1. More people may use this more as therapy, as we already seen different stories of people who are actually trying to marry AI, and even people who, well, self-deleted themselves because AI may have told them to. I'm not saying ChatGPT 5.1 will make people do that, but I'm saying at the very least this could help blur the line between AI and human. And in some cases that's good, but in also a lot of cases it's probably not. But tell me what you think about the ChatGPT 5.1 update that, well, nobody's really talking about. With that being said, if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest AI news, you should definitely like and subscribe. With that being said, your boy Dex Not Dexter out.